of issues and interesting things about should the government be legislating on these things. Was it a snake oil cure? You know, I really want to hear what John's got to say. John's helping, obviously, from a common law perspective. Let me just check the audio here. Yep, audio looks absolutely fine. There was people on. Listen, we're allowed to hear alternative points of view. We're not everyone's going to agree with John. Not everyone is going to go agreeing with David Noakes. So everyone that's coming on, hit the thumbs up button, please. Hello to everybody that's on Periscope. Thanks for joining us. If you're on Periscope, please hit the retweet button and just tap the screen. I don't look at any messages on Periscope, but if you just want to jump over to YouTube and leave it, what we'll do is we'll bring in John and we'll have a wee refresh about John and the work he does with the common law courts, and then we'll get on to the David Noakes issue in about 5 or so minutes. So everybody, if we could all welcome John Smith of Common Law Courts to the show. Good evening, John. How are you?
Hello. Fine, thanks. Hello, good evening to your viewers.
Great. Some comments there. Everyone's pleased to see you again. What we're here to discuss tonight is the curious case of David Noakes. And obviously I've put the controversial topic, was it a cancer cure or was it snake oil? There are people would argue from both perspectives. I'm very interested in this. I believe in alternative medicines myself. So I am putting that out there so that you know. But we're obviously going to analyse it from a different perspective. John, for those of you that didn't see you the last time, just fill us in a wee bit more on the work you do at Common Law Courts and how that is important in relation to this case.
Well, if you think about it from a justice system in the UK, as it happens just now, the judicial system that we currently have, the statutory system, is actually a registered company. The company is actually set up to run for profit, and it's not actually there for justice, which is difficult to believe. I tried years ago to deal with a personal situation through the courts, and for that privilege I ended up losing my savings, ended up bankrupt, lost family, lost my house, lost everything. It was all down to the behaviour of the judges at the time, who refused to deal with which should have been a lawful remedy and a simple solution. There was not a shadow of doubt that I was correct, and it's been proven since, time and time again, but they didn't actually put me back to the position that I should have been, because the information I had was too damning to the establishment. So with various friends, we had a look at the system just now and started thinking about what was wrong, and then we put up a common law court procedure, which basically it's a simple solution, and it's used by men and women to confirm their standing as a living being, a living man or a living woman, and it gives them the opportunity to obtain a lawful remedy by convening their own courts. Now, these courts have nothing to do with the statutory system. The courts are made up of living men and women, and the court officials are members of the public as well. So pretty much this is the way that we're operating, and since then we've had various pieces of success over the years, including the fact that the existing statutory system had to concede that we currently have two judicial systems operating. So for the first time in the UK, we have two judicial systems. One is run by the state and the Crown, and the second one is run by the people, for the people. This one deals with nothing but a lawful remedy. It's nothing to do with finances, financial gain. It's not a company, and it's not connected to the state. Yeah. So.
I personally think in years to come, this is going to be absolutely huge, because so many people just they don't trust the judiciary. There's been so many things happening. I think this is going to be huge. One question we've had asked from Marie is, how do people go about name changes with the common law courts? Would it probably be best to just go on your website, John?
You could go on a website, but it's a simple solution. When if anyone goes onto the website initially, when they record their birth, they have to record their birth with the name they were given at birth. So that basically connects the entity that the state have to the common law birth. And then after that, they will then be using a new name or a fictitious name. If they have changed their name, all they need to do is email in the common law court, notify us of a name change, and we'll record that information for them.
It's all there. It's actually a really good website. Um, I've had a good look on it. It's well made. I'm just laughing to myself. It's us jocks are going to start running the country again, aren't we, John? That was the complaint a few years back.
Yeah. Don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
I know. New news, new court system, all from Glasgow and Dundee for our friends south of Hadrian's Wall. So, John, first of all, let's get on to the David Noakes case, and there's so much to discuss there. Everybody as well, the super chats are open as well. We've got our target. Carol, if you could just drop in the survey, please. We're doing a big survey the next few days before we do our big launch towards getting more subscribers. I'll talk a bit more about that later on. Great to see so many of you on already. As ever, give it a like. Give it a share. If you're watching on Catch Up, hello. If you're on Periscope, hello. So, John, how did you first become aware of the David Noakes case?
I was informed by some people on the Common Law Court site that David's situation had came to light. I think it was at the time when he'd just been put into jail. He was convicted and given a jail sentence. I think it was about a week or so later, there was a few individuals trying to assist with the process and trying to get him out. Where then they had came to the people at the Common Law Court and said, look, is there anything that can be done by using a Common Law Court system? We'd said yes at the time, well, yes, there can. However, we didn't have any contact. It remained that way until I went to an AV10 conference a couple of months ago, where I actually met David and Linda at the conference, but we didn't have time to speak or say anything. But there was a few people at the conference knew what was going on, and I had given a talk at the conference, and then a week or so later, when I think his legal team had been struggling and having problems, they weren't having any success at all, and the French government were starting to come after David. They served them with extradition papers. It was then that he turned to the Common Law Court and used a mutual contact. We had a chat, spoke about the process, how it works, and both David and Linda had wanted to sort of start using this to defend themselves. So we got involved since then, and I've been helping Linda initially, and now David.
What's David's current state of play? Is he in jail? Where is he at the moment?
No, David was on. He'd served a sentence. I think it was a 6-month sentence he served. And he got out. He released for good behaviour, but he was then put onto a tag. So he was confined to his home premises between 7 in the evening and 7 in the morning every day. He was on a tag, I think, for 4 months, and I believe that he just came off the tag this week. So that's fine, but the existing sentence he got, I think, doesn't expire until February next year, after which the French want to take him over to the courts there. But because they're aware it's going to take a while, they're starting the extradition process now. But in addition to that, they're trying to, under the proceeds of crime, confiscate the last of his assets. I think they actually have the assets, but what they want to do now is sell them. Now, luckily enough for us, they have to take him back to court. So we actually have a court hearing 2 weeks today, which is at Southwark Crown Court in London. It's on the 2nd of August, and this is great. Because we're allowed into court, we can now argue. So we're putting forward a common law argument whereby we're challenging not only the authority of the courts, but we're challenging the authority of the Crown. That was submitted this week, so it's in. And realistically, according to the existing statutory system, it should mean that when we go to court, they will not be able to proceed against him until they deal with the issue of our challenge to their authority and jurisdiction.
I'm going to read this out. This is from the BBC, ladies and gentlemen, so as ever, a pinch of salt. Cancer brackets cure boss David Noakes jailed for 15 months. The founder of a company selling a so-called cancer cure has been jailed for 15 months. David Noakes of Waldershire illegally made and distributed, is it GC Math? Is that how you would call it, John?
Yes.
GC Math,
yes.
Globally from the UK. His company, Immunobiotech, made millions selling the substance online. The 65-year-old had previously pleaded guilty to money laundering and manufacturing, supplying and selling an unlicensed medicine. So, did he plead guilty, John?
Yes.
Right.
I'm sorry for laughing. If you have the state bearing down now, at the time, there was the British government and the French government, and the French were dealing with a pharmaceutical company who didn't want this product on the market, so to speak, given the record it had and the results it was having. Now, I think at the time, the French were trying to get David a 12-year sentence in the UK, and in addition to that, they wanted to jail him for a further 14 years in France, which would have been 26 years in total. Now, the legal team that he had working for him had basically spoke to him about what was happening. They'd spoken to the government, and then between them, some genius decided to come up with a brainwave that if they got him to accept a plead guilty, what they would do is take it down to a 15-month sentence, after which he could probably be out in 6 or 7 months. So what he done is he decided to plead guilty to that, accept that, to get the matter over and done with. That was on instructions from his legal team, which obviously they had a prior agenda anyway. They've done nothing to support him, nothing to help him, and he's actually dismissed them this week as well. So he's now dealing solely with the common law angle.
I mean, I think as well, without going down the common law side of thing, if anyone's ever tried of a crime, never plead guilty. The law is there to allow you the chance to have a full trial. You know, they want you to plead guilty straight away. So it's one thing I've never understood, John, is people that, I mean, unless you know, well, what is guilt, but you should always get the chance for a trial. So this is the issue here. Guernsey-based sold an unlicensed human blood product. Do you know anything about the product, John? What GC Math actually was?
No, I don't. As far as I'm aware, I think it's some sort of product that activates an internal system. You have my understanding, listening to people, is that just about everyone in the world will have cancer, believe it or not, 6 times a year on average. Now, nobody ever knows about it because your immune system actually defeats the cancer, kills it off. Now, when certain items inside your internal system or certain situations whereby your immune system will not be operating correctly, and therefore because you're deficient, what will happen is the cancer kicks in. Certain types of cancer, depending on your immune system, what this product does is basically kickstart your immune system and allows you to fight off the cancer. So I think it acts as a trigger, and it's just to assist your immune system.
I'm just looking at some of the trying to get some more information on it here. This is so I'll just read a bit more about this. Cancer Research UK, and they sold between 2011 and 2017. They made 7.9 million from the sale of products. It was marketed as a cure for autism, HIV, and cancer, although Noakes admitted he was constantly toning the claims down. Cancer Research UK and the National Autistic Society were among those who have raised concerns about the product. He was sentenced to 12 months. He was also disqualified as a company director. Lorraine Noakes was given a 6-month sentence, suspended for 2 years. What I get the sense, let me see this as well. Cancer cure boss tells court it's all my fault. This was another article on the BBC. The founder of a company selling a so-called taking for claims made. Is he? I employed experts. Does he feel he has overstated the claims of this product? Do you think, John?
I don't know enough about the product and obviously the comments that were made in what sort of context. The only thing, if he has stated that he takes the blame for this, the only thing that I am aware of is that they were unlawfully targeting Linda Thayer. Now, Linda Thayer was obviously developing the product, but I think the charges that they laid at the door for David, in fact, they initially tried to charge Lynn as well, is that they were both involved in the manufacture, the production and distribution of this product. Now, what had happened is David, on this charge, had decided that he would accept the plea, plead guilty for the sentence. The court in the UK had confirmed that Linda was not involved in the production, the distribution for this product, so she was found not guilty. However, in her case, the French weren't happy because the British didn't prosecute her, so the French had wanted to extradite her to France to stand trial there. Now, in relation to David's situation, David had taken the plea, but when he pleaded, it was for the distribution and the manufacture and production. However, because they had stated that I think they had a clinic over in Switzerland and they had somewhere in Guernsey and obviously the UK, but predominantly all the employees, my understanding, with the exception of one, stayed in the UK. Now, the European or the pharmaceutical company in the French had stated that this was an international an international system, that people worked in different countries, and as such, because they were dealing with this product, they targeted them as a terrorist gang, and that's the terminology they used. So they listed them as a terrorist gang, and because they were selling this product, they said there was money involved. They then tagged on the money laundering charges. So this is where that came from. The money came in, my understanding was it went to the clinics, the people involved, the researchers, obviously the doctors that came in, they had to set up, and bearing in mind the product itself cost thousands to create. So in relation to what they were making was minimal. It doesn't even come anywhere near what the pharmaceutical companies were making. And bearing in mind, I think, I may be wrong, but this is my understanding, is the existing treatment available from the state and the pharmaceutical companies through the hospitals is chemotherapy. But for a course of chemotherapy, they're making £40,000 for, or they're charging £40,000 for one course.
Yeah,
which is ludicrous.
I think as well there is a big sense, and I think most people would agree with this. There is not a lot of love for big pharma. There is no real trust of the pharmaceutical companies. Thanks, Proctor, a huge supporter of this channel. You're right, for the price of a coffee. I mean, a coffee is about £3-4 now in Starbucks, so every pound or two that everyone chips in is a huge help. As I said, everything in the super chats just goes towards this. It's a bit like homeopathy. I mean, I'm a big believer that if you're not well and you're dying, surely you will explore every possible way to try and make you feel better. And a lot of these big pharma companies, I don't think they necessarily act in the interests of the public. That's why I have to laugh when the politicians talk about a health service that's free from the point of entry and there's no privatisation in it. Look at the money these healthcare companies make off of it. I'm going to read this because this is a different perspective. We've heard what the BBC have said about it. So this is a different perspective. This is a blog called inthistogether.com. Over 6 years, Immunobiotech made 7.6 million selling GC Math. Out of that, they paid a staff team of 27, including 4 research scientists, 7 doctors, 2 ultrasound staff, 4 nurses and admin staff for 6 years. They paid for the labs, staff travel and accommodation. Any additional revenue they pumped back into GCMAF. As a comparison, the CEO of GlaxoSmithKline earns approximately $6 million every year. The alleged medicine is not a synthetic manufactured pharmaceutical. It's actually derived from naturally occurring human protein. It's called GC protein-derived macrophage activating factor. How and why GCMAF is being withheld from the public, despite an abundance of supporting scientific evidence, reveals a system of corporate control. At David Noakes' trial, the judge made it clear that GCMAF was not on trial. He accepted that Noakes had acted out of a genuine desire to treat people. He noted that GCMAF had been instrumental in successfully treating people. The judge had little choice and was compelled to make the legal decision, and uncomfortably gave David Noakes 15 years. Under the 1939 Cancer Act, it is illegal in the UK to advertise any cancer treatment which is not approved by the state. It's also illegal to offer any claimed cancer treatment. I am not qualified medified, I'm not offering any medical advice, and I'm not promoting GCMAF. The charges were brought by UK MHRA, and Lynn Thayer is due to be extradited to France to receive similar charges. Lynn has been found entirely innocent of all charges in the UK. I get the sense here, and I don't know what you feel, John, but it looks to me like there's been a bit of naivety on David Noakes' part here about what he was up against.
Possibly. I think from his point of view, what he was doing, using this product to assist people, the statutory system and the pharmaceutical companies will never ever allow this to proceed for various reasons. The money alone, the money aspect of it, determines that they'll never allow this product onto the market. Now, David, through wanting to help people, wanting to develop this and assist people with all forms of sort of ailments, had decided that we can use this and it's okay to do so, given his position, given the fact that it's not a sort of product, it is a natural product as such. I don't think he estimated how far the pharmaceutical companies would go and to what extent the government would back them up. So I think, yes, there is naivety there, but the same could be said for most people, myself included. When I came up against a problem, the first thing I wanted to do to defend myself was go to a statutory court, which is ludicrous. So that was naive. But obviously people learn, and I think part of the reason for doing what he's did, I believe, may have been because he wanted to protect the people that he'd been working with, and certainly Lynn, who had nothing to do with this. And given the fact and the pressure they put onto him, they had stated, look, this is literally your best solution here. Accept this 15 months and it'll be okay. Now, I think he was led or coerced by the legal team. They've actually put him into the position here. Now, my understanding of the team is each time he's came to them and asked for help and asked them to do things, they've failed to do what they should be doing. I think he'd lined up, one of the experts he lined up was going to testify, and he had substantial evidence to put to the judge in the case. However, his legal team refused to allow this witness to speak, which is ludicrous, because the information he had was crucial to the case. But if the legal team doesn't allow him to speak, what sort of defence is that? No, I think he paid too much emphasis on the legal team and what they would do to assist, and I think he got shafted. But at the end of the day, the legal team is there not for him. Legal teams and solicitors are not there for people. They're there to protect the state and the existing judicial system.
It certainly sounds that way. And there was another blog I came across that was very critical of him and his wife. And from what I understand as well, it tended to not be... I think David Noakes himself admitted they went a bit over the top with it. And it seems to be that a crowd gathered around it and started to believe in it. It's interesting as well, the BBC call it an unlicensed blood product. It's an injectable product made from human blood. I mean, we would probably, I mean, we'd need to speak to find out a bit more about that. Some overseas customers have been paying. Did anybody, as far as you know, John, have any adverse effects from this product?
Just the basic information is that I don't know enough about the product to pass comment on it one way or other. From what I've heard, I believe that it seems to be assisting people, it seems to be helping people, and by all accounts, no one's actually ever died from it. In fact, as far as I'm aware, the only sort of adverse effects is occasionally in a small percentage of people they have like a simple flu-like symptom for a couple of days, maybe like the flu jab. Apart from that, there's no additional downside to it as far as I'm aware of, and certainly no one's ever died from it.
I mean, obviously, you're not here to defend the
No,
product. You're
no.
or the situation. You're here to look at David Noakes' case from a different perspective. I think we would probably. I mean, I wouldn't recommend David Noakes comes on this show. If anybody's ever involved in anything with a lawyer, best not discussing it. But at all, there was no complaints. People are saying. I think again, this case comes down to: do people trust the government? Do people trust big pharmaceutical companies? Do people trust the law? And I think the answer to all of those is no. And it also comes down to who has the choice over what you put in your body. Is it the government or is it the individuals? Um, from a common law perspective, then, John, what would your position be on government advice on certain medicines and things like that?
Well, when we come down to we use the term common law, we keep it's the name we used so people it gives it a simple explanation. It comes down to the same thing. It could be common law, natural law, law of the land, universal law, the Creator's law or God's law, depending on religion. Now, with these laws, this is you're supposed to take things back to basics. So you're causing no harm, no loss, no injury to others, and ensure your contractual obligations are lawful and you're honourable. Now, if you stick to these basic principles, um, the government are effectively an entity. The people created a government, and the people created the judicial system. They are legal entities. There is no one individual that's called government or obviously a judicial system. It's a fiction. It's a corporation. Now, what we have here is we have governments, so-called governments, trying to pass themselves off as a higher authority than the people, and they're trying to lay down laws. Now, first of all, the laws, the so-called laws that they're passing, are not laws. They're statutes, they're acts, they're rules and regulations, and they only become law if the people accept them. But the point is, they're laying it down and dictating to the people that they are laws, you will follow them, and you'll be punished accordingly if you don't. But the people have to remember that the authority lies with the people. You cannot have a company that's been created by the people, whether it be the government or the judicial system. You cannot get to the stage whereby these fictions are trying to dictate to the people. It's all back to front, but this is what they've done, the people that run these systems. They should not play any part at all in relation to things like medical care, because it should be the people. If you have an individual who is suffering, as he says, it may be cancer. I have had relations died recently from cancer. I've had people I've known, close friends have passed away. I have people I know now that are fighting cancer. But the point is, within the state system, by all accounts, I don't think chemotherapy, by all accounts, does them any good. I think the side effects are horrendous because I've actually watched some people going through it. I don't think it does personally, in my view. It doesn't do them any good. And at the end of the day, if there is a possibility of using a natural product that can assist and cure you, why are the government allowed to dictate whether you can use it or not? It's got nothing to do with them. It's as if it's your body and you have a product or you wish to try something that will assist you to fight a disease you have. Why you're not being allowed to use it? there's two other examples. There's a situation whereby many people had spoken to. Luckily enough, my health is okay. Um, I heard about people using things like CBD oil or the marijuana plant in cannabis. Now, that has been used for a number of years, and people, it seems to work with certain situations. So they get relief for whatever reason. They're using this now on medicinal purposes. I cannot see the problem there. But the government have still registered this as it's an illegal offence to use it. Now, the government, by all accounts, had stated, even last year, this says that they should decriminalise this product. Now, they're actually looking to do that, but they're saying it may take 3 to 4 years to do so. Now, the 3 to 4 years is only put in so that they can discuss it with the pharmaceutical companies. They're going to set up the manufacturing of the product, the supply of the product, and the pricing. When they have agreed all that for financial reasons, they will then distribute to the public. But the point is, if people are suffering now, why should you have to wait 3 years or 4 years for the government to supply it and to charge you for the privilege when it's available now and you can use it? There was a girl, I haven't actually seen the full story, so I'm not going to comment too much on it, but there was a story in England, I believe there is a child, a very small child, is struggling in a hospital somewhere, but the thing that caught my eye is that her parents had wanted to take her abroad for treatment. But the headline that caught my eye was that the hospital are refusing to allow the parents to remove the child
Yeah.
to take her abroad for treatment. Now, what gives them the right to do that? They're not allowed. If you have a child, it's your child. The hospitals and governments are dictating what's happening to your child. And it's the same with cancer cures as well. They're dictating what will happen. You don't get the choice. It's a police state we live in. That is taking it back to common law principles. It's not common law, it's natural law, whatever you want to call it. It's basically taking your standing as a living man or a living woman and dictating what you want to do yourself. You should not be governed by them. It's okay working within the system, but when they start putting rules and regulations down that are affecting people's health, their day-to-day lives, and people are suffering because of it, there's something wrong somewhere.
My personal opinion on it is, and maybe I'm living in still a dream world, but we still have to have some faith in our institutions, in our doctors, that they're acting in our interest, and listen to their advice on medication. But what I have seen over the last few years is a total clamping down on complementary therapy, as it used to be called. Anything that was considered different. We were talking about this earlier, homeopathy, dietary, things like that. They've almost been poo-pooed. And I think Big Pharma has had a role to play in that. They've tried to destroy these complementary therapies that works for so many people. Thanks to everyone on the chat. Good that it's been spoke about. Everybody keep giving this a like. Please keep giving this a share. Again, it's up to individuals. Now, again, excuse my ignorance, what was the name of the wee boy who sadly died? Alfie. Remember the story?
Alfie Evans.
Alfie Evans. Now, again, if you've got a child and you think there's a chance of saving a child, should those parents not have been allowed to have taken him to another country or tried to do something?
Well, again, that's the point we're making. Is yes, it should be the case, because the point is, at what point do the state get to come in and tell you what to do with your child? Now, it wasn't costing anyone. It wasn't costing the taxpayers. They had everything funded. They were going abroad to another hospital, which is all funded. It wasn't going to do anything it won't cost the taxpayer. So they were taking the child for treatment, and other doctors were saying it may have assisted. Now, if that was the case, why not allow them to do it? But according to the doctors in this country, they were saying no, and they're backed up by the state. Now, it went to, I think it was the Supreme Court, there was various hearings there, and they just shut it down and says no, they refused to allow him to go away. Now, whether or not it would have made any difference, I don't know. But if you think yourself, no, it doesn't have to be a child. You can have a family member a family member, a close friend, if they are suffering just now, why do the state get to dictate what is acceptable by way of treatment, whether they wish to give treatment or withhold it? What gives them the authority to do so? Well, we know what gives them the authority. It's through the system that they operate in, through the birth certificate. But it's disgusting because that in itself is a fraud against the people. Now, you passed a comment earlier on about various types of medicines available, natural products as well. Yes, it's great. There can be a lot more used because I don't understand, obviously, given my health and that, is obviously the implications regarding these home cures and herbal cures and that, what they can and cannot do. By all accounts, a lot of them seem to work. And again, even within the existing systems, we have doctors who will be doing an excellent job. It's the same with the police. We'll have police that are doing an excellent job. However, we also have people that are not. Now, it says you have police, you have like every walk of life, doctors, you'll have people that are abusing their positions. Now, there are key people within the industry that will know what's going on, but effectively turn a blind eye to it, which is wrong. And the thing is, the government get away with it because people don't stand up to this, and they can do it because they have the legal fiction and they got the courts to back them up.
We've got people are asking when they can put comments. If you put comments in the chat, I mean, obviously, if it's a super chat, I will see it. I'm doing my best to try and look at as many. What was I going to say? Fantasy Product is saying sometimes kids have to be protected from love. I know, but if they're in absolute agony, then it shouldn't be extended. Now, that's an understandable argument that you have to trust the health professionals. But I reiterate again, if this is your child and you think there's even a small chance that something different could work to save them, most parents would take that chance, wouldn't they?
The point I'd like to make just now, you can't comment you just passed just now, and again, I've done exactly the same. You made a comment just now and you said, look, the doctors, and most people would expect that you have to trust the doctor. Why would you trust a doctor? It's the same as a solicitor. Why would you do that? Now, I made a mistake years ago because I had suffered a wrong and I was looking for a lawful remedy, that I went to the existing judicial system and the solicitor to assist in that. I didn't realise what was going on, but I realised when I went there, they're not there for the client. They're not interested in the client. They're there to make money because it's a registered company, and they're there to protect the state and the judicial system. Now, it's the same with doctors. Doctors are there to do a job. Some knowingly know what's going on. Some unknowingly are making decisions without all the information. Now, it's the same in any job. Just because someone has a title does not give them respect.
I get
Because
that.
they have to earn that respect.
I agree with that, John, and it's something that we come across. We'll all come across. You know, people will say, "Well, we tried to get press passes the other day.
Yeah.
It's a really archaic process, and there's only like 6 gatekeepers who you're allowed to apply for press passes from." And one of them said, "No, we're not giving you them because we don't think you're a proper news organisation." Now, who are they to tell us? You know, so I get all that. People, as you say, just because someone is a doctor, I think what you're getting back to is it's about empowering individuals, isn't it? And we've moved so far away from that now. Do you think, I mean, I know it's not a nice term, but the masses are referred to as the sheeple. You know, they just follow like sheep. But do you think there is a community of people being awakened to how the world is and how things are?
Certainly, without a doubt. I was waking myself. It was a number of years ago. I'll go back probably 9, 10 years ago when I was first wakened. So it was obviously, this is what, my 56 now. You're looking about 45, 46-year-old before I woke. And then I realised how bad things were, and I started looking into it. Now, more and more people now throughout the world, and it's in every country, they're actually starting to learn what's going on. I think it happened coincidentally because of the internet going up as well. There's far more information now available through the internet. Now, it's not all good But obviously, there is plenty of information out there. If you have the sense to sift through it and have a look at the information, do the research, you can actually find out what's going on. But again, there's a lot of people, unfortunately, are blinkered in their approach, and they have a happy life, a contented life, and they just continue going about their daily business. Unfortunately for these people, it's only when something goes wrong that they realise what's going on, and by then it's too late. It can actually cause them considerable harm. But the point is, if they actually pay a little bit more attention to what's going on just now and start to understand what's going on, they don't actually have to do anything. You don't have to go out and march in the streets and protest. You don't have to withhold anything. Basically, all you need to do is confirm your standing as a living man or woman, and then stand with the rest of the people. Now, there's lots of people throughout the world all trying to take on the system and trying to obviously look for a lawful remedy. These people would do that, but with the support of others at home, that gives you strength in numbers. But I think they are learning here, and it is changing for the better. And certainly, the work that the Common Law Court does is making a difference just now.
I mean, I think that's what I think with John as well is quite reassuring. John is not. I mean, we've spoken before about a lot of people on YouTube, and they're a bit cult-like. John doesn't strike me as being, I'm right, follow me, everyone else is wrong. I think you understand how the world works, John, but you're trying to offer an alternative. And what I see so much is that any alternative, whether it's an alternative business, an alternative idea, the establishment will try and destroy it because they don't want any change. They don't want people thinking. And I've never known it as bad as this, and I think it keeps getting worse.
Yeah. I think at the moment in time, this is what it boils down to is if you think about the whole sort of the process behind this and the way it operates, if you think of men and women in general, most men and women, if they actually look at a situation, they're reasonable minded, they will be able to look at something and know right from wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They will be able to lead their life honourably. They will know obviously what they should and shouldn't do. Now, providing people obviously get on with their day-to-day business, their lives, and they respect other individuals about them, i.e. cause them no harm, loss or injury. This is providing that's the case and you're honourable in your contractual dealings. That's it. That's it, what it boils down to. Everything else we have and the problems the state have just now is because of the state and the statutory rules and their regulations and so-called laws. You mentioned a few things this evening. David and Lynn are being prosecuted, but they're being prosecuted by courts which are not there for justice. They're registered companies run for profit. There's no justice because they're not getting a hearing. Lynn was deprived of the opportunity to go into court to defend herself. I've tried to go in her behalf. I've went into 3 different courts. I've submitted papers. They refused to allow me to go in to protect her or defend her. And then when the Supreme Court had stated to me, well, we can't deal with a challenge. We are only here as an appeal court. So given what happened to us at one of the other courts, I then lodged an appeal to the Supreme Court, and they says, well, yes, okay, we said we're an appeal court. However, we're not going to hear your appeal. So you can go somewhere else. It's ludicrous. But the point is, this is what you're dealing with. This is the system are there. This is how they operate. If people stand and live as they should live, there wouldn't be any problems. The problems are the existing system and the failings in the system and the people that are running it.
If anybody's got any questions for John, I think it's a Friday night. We don't want to keep John on too much longer. Just put them in the comments and we'll try and ask them to John. In relation to the super chats, I know some news organisations don't ask questions unless it's a super chat. No, that's not what we do. I'm managing the stream, doing the interview and looking at comments, so I just miss some of your comments. But the super chats help the channel continue, that we can bring you this news, because this isn't a conversation that's being had anywhere in mainstream media. Have you ever had anybody from the mainstream media contact you, John, and ask you what you do?
No. I years ago when I first took on the authorities regarding what happened to me, I was a whistleblower years ago. I had some of the mainstream media contact me about what went on, but they're quite happy to publish some of the information to touch on the basis, but they wouldn't actually deal with the nitty gritty of the case because it was
Hmm.
actually attacking the government. Now, this had nothing to do with common law courts. This was just the problem that I'd come across as a whistleblower. But I found out very, very quickly that the mainstream media won't cover something if it's attacking the state. And since the common law court's been set up, none of the mainstream media have came anywhere near it,
Um,
understandably.
well, that's right. It's not in their interest to do so. Whereas it
No.
is in our interest as an alternative media outlet to look at alternative ideas. James Isaac says, "I'm very interested in common law, and it needs people to get behind it to make it work." How can people get behind it and make it work, John? What do you need people to do?
Well, the thing just now is the people, if most of your reviewers will not be aware that the only record of their existence is actually in the state system, the statutory system. If we turned around and I was to try and convince someone that one of your listeners or viewers existed, I would have to refer to documents like a driving license, national insurance card, a passport, their health card, voters' roll, council tax. All these are statutory documents. But what they do is they give out the name, the legal fiction, and they attach it to a living body, a living man or a living woman. That does not confirm who the living man or woman is. Now, at this moment in time, there's nowhere apart from the common law court that there's a record for living men and women. They don't exist. Now, if you try to take on the state and you go to court or you deal with the authorities, if you go and try to tell them that you're a living man or woman, they laugh at you. You're one individual. So what we do is we actually have a registration here to confirm that you exist. By making a declaration on this website, you can confirm that you are born and you get a registration number confirming that you have a birth as a living man or woman. Now, when you obtain that, it changes everything because it takes away the control of the state. And the more and more people that do this, the easier it becomes. Now, this does not affect your day to day life. You carry on as normal. It doesn't affect your position, your entitlement to use the facilities, for example, the NHS. You can use these facilities because you still pay into the system every day. When you purchase something, you're paying tax. You pay tax through your
Hmm.
wages. You've
Hmm.
paid tax for years. So you're still part of the system. The only way that you would actually use this is when you actually turn around and need to defend yourself. It gives you a lawful remedy to do so. And all it takes is for people to go on free of charge, is go onto the website and make a declaration that they were born. That's all.
And I think as well, I'm not saying it attracts me to it or anything like that. You know, I'm a news organisation, but what I find different about John and the way he does it is he's not telling everybody to go and run off and live in a cave somewhere or on top of a mountain. He's actually saying the world is the way it is, but there are different solutions. And that is so important because we need to look at solutions. Sassy, thanks so much for your support from America. Says yes, common law. Do you get a lot of people from America? Thanks, Penny, again for your support. Loving tonight's guest, says Penny. Do you get a lot of people on from America, John?
Yes, we do. More so over the last couple of months. We are now up to 74 countries. Now, that's not the people who visit the site. This is the people who are recording their births. So we have literally thousands of people from 74 countries now. Now, America, there's quite a few. We tend to get more from Australia. We also get
Mm-hmm.
from Canada, the Commonwealth countries, but we're getting countries all over. Even African countries, we've had people from Russia, Estonia,
It's amazing.
even things like now we're getting quite a few from Austria and even Sweden. So they are coming in on a regular basis, and it's not just the UK or countries within the UK. It's basically it's on a daily basis they're coming in worldwide.
It's just amazing. Well, I'll let you go, John. That's been Very interesting as ever. We'll keep an eye out on the David Noakes case and Lynn Tyre, and we'll just try and bring you another perspective. Do you have any closing remarks at all, John? And I'll just take you off the interview, but I'll stay on.
Yeah. The only thing I was doing is if people wish to show any sort of support at all, in relation to the hearing, if it's at all possible, and you happen to be in the vicinity, the court case, the next court case for David is 2 weeks today, which is on the 2nd of August. It's actually at Southwark Crown Court. 10 in the morning. If anyone can attend to show support, we're actually looking for as many people to do so as possible, to let the people know that we're behind them, and obviously that the judicial system can't continue to do what they're doing. They have to answer for the people. So there's no protests, no marches or anything, just obviously the weight in numbers. If people could come up to show support, that's fine. Other than that, if they do wish to use this process and assist, simply submitting a declaration for your birth is great. It's free of charge. It also confirms your standing as a living man or woman, and it helps with the process.
John, thanks very much for your time. It's been a pleasure. Yep. And we could maybe get you on the show after the case, and you could give us an update on what happens.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do so.
Yep. John, thanks very much for your time.
Perfect.
Good night.
Okay, thanks a lot to your viewers. Okay,
yep. Everyone says they really enjoyed having you on. Great as ever. Thank you, John. You are fascinating. Someone says they sound like their dad. That's usually a compliment. It
is. Okay, I'll take it as a compliment.
Good man, John.
Right.
Speak to you later. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That was great having John on the show there, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe people would pay. What we're trying to do with this is we're not taking a position on GC math. We're not taking a position on common law. But what we are doing is bringing these issues to your attention, which I think everybody will agree is so important. Because if we don't look at these issues, then no one will. Yeah, really interesting stuff. I just think society has become so bland, and so you're not allowed to think outside the box. And if you do think outside the box, you have to behave in a certain way. Yeah, a lot of people like John. Your dad's from Dundee, Marie. That's funny. Anybody, Marie, if you could put the link to the UNN community chat on Telegram, there's actually a really good community of truth seekers developing. People share ideas in a positive way. And it's so important that we all keep seeking the truth together. And also, if you've not already, please take the survey. The survey is very interesting. We just want to know a wee bit about what you're thinking and how UNN, with some feedback so far. Most of it's great, 80% positive. Some of them said, I don't like the broad Scots accents. I can't understand what you're saying sometimes. Someone said the main interviewer's got a monotone voice. I don't know, do they want me to squeaky my voice a wee bit? What else? The intro's too long. That's fair enough, but any show's usually got a 30-second intro and going live. It's interesting to get the feedback, so thanks to everybody for the feedback. At the end of the month and into August, we need to do a big monthly recurring subscription fundraising drive. We've got about 230 just now. As true as I stand here, thanks Mark, that's really kind. I'll get that up on the screen in a second. As true as I stand here, we're losing money every month. We need to get to 1,000 subscribers. It's $4.99 a month. Now, I know some of you can't afford that. I understand that. If you're on a pension, if you're not doing so well, I get that. So just keep liking, keep sharing, and join the chat. But if you can spare just over £1 a week, which is what it is, we're not going down the road of we want people giving us $100 a month. Now, there are other options on the website where you can give a bit more. If you can give a bit more, and I would really appreciate it. I'm too Scottish, says Nick. Nick, you're really cheeky. Bolt, as they would say up in Glasgow. I'm not standing, or I'm very short. I'm not short, Victoria. I'm sitting down. It's just the way it works. Yeah, Mark, I'll get that up in a wee second. So, look, the TV license is what? 12 quid a month. And look at the dross you get for that. Right? If you tell them you don't watch live TV, you don't need to pay for it. So there you go. There's your $4.99, and I'm also saving you £6 a month. I don't watch live TV anymore in my house. Carol doesn't watch live TV, therefore we do not have TV licenses. I'm Glaswegian, Captain Calamity. Your accent's just fine. I know. The funny thing is, I'm quite posh for Glasgow as well. Speak English. I do speak English. I'm going to go have a look at this telegram. You're getting me excited. I do like a bit of gossip. We don't base our shows on bitching and gossip. We actually try and be serious, but I like a bit of gossip and I like a bit of trash, so I'm looking forward to it. Good night, Natasha. Thanks for being on the chat. $13.20 a month is unbelievable that people pay for that dross that they watch on these channels, and that's what it is. Now, we've got some more great shows and interviews lined up. Next Friday night, we have on a gentleman from the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. After, we interviewed Anne-Marie Waters last week. You have a Glasgow uni accent. Do I have a BBC Scotland accent? Yes, I could speak like this. Welcome to Unity News Network with me, David Clues. That's a funny one. 70 a month for Sky. I mean, honestly, stop giving Rupert Murdoch your money, people. Okay, you get to watch the football, but look at the way the world is. It's an absolute mess. Mark, let me get up your super chat there, because that was really, 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 really appreciated. Thanks very much, Mark, and I'll get your comment. Love these common law topics. Just I was smart enough to understand it, so I could actually use it. Yeah, it is. Do you know what? It's about expanding our minds and our brain and looking at different things. That's all UNN is a vehicle for, to look deeper and look at different things. David Robinson. I don't actually know who that is. Chainsaw, can you email info@ukunity.org.uk? I'm annoyed I gave Penny that email address, though. I'm only joking. Penny sent over some very interesting footage about Epstein. What was I going to say? People like the TV. I think 10 years' time, the way people will view TV, I understand, look, I'm being tongue-in-cheek, that people like their movies and everything like that, but when it comes to news, when it comes to knowledge, but we need to be open. So next Friday, we've got the gentleman on from the Ahmadiyya community, which I think is brilliant. Now, the Ahmadiyya community are not liked within the wider Muslim community. They're regarded as apostates, but they're very much against extremism. And I'm looking forward to having him on the show. So this will be very, very interesting. Penny, I haven't watched that video just yet. I've got a much more understandable accent than I've seen this. But I've seen this better. Talk about that. Go out for a swally. And talk like that. I could do a I've got my vest on. I come for governor and all that. I could actually do voices. So Sunday night, Carl and I are going to do a show. Monday night, we'll probably do our phone in on Monday. Wednesday, we'll hopefully get Oliver on. And then Friday, we've got Asan coming on. We've got other people ready to be coming on as well. We've got someone from hopefully Migration Watch UK as well. Guys, Unity News is going places, and we're only going places because of the community, and I'm loving this community, and I will go on the chat. I will keep in touch with you as much as possible. Ali Dawa, yeah, I know who that is. We might try and get him on. I know he's very, very controversial, but I wouldn't mind having him on the show. But I wanted to give the Ahmadiyya community a say. Yeah, Telegram's great. Guys, open your mind. Don't be close-minded. Look at different perspectives. Look at different ideas. It's been a great show. It's Friday night. I'm going to let you go and all enjoy your weekend. Freedom. That's funny. great chat, everyone. Thanks to everyone that chipped in with the super chats as well. But we need to get our monthly revenue up so that we can all keep going, because we're struggling right now. I'm dipping into my overdraft, dipping in my credit card as well. I don't like Flower of Scotland, Nick. It is a dirge. I don't agree with what it's about either. I don't agree with the politics of Flower of Scotland. So you will never catch me singing. You will never catch me singing Flower of Scotland. Billy Connolly, hello there. Hello everybody, it's Billy Connolly, and I used to work in the shipyards. I can actually be quite funny sometimes if I want to be, but I don't. Well, maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not funny at all. But that was my Billy Connolly impression. In Glasgow, people come up to you and say hello. In Edinburgh, they look at you. I'm not a big fan of Billy Connolly at all. That's the thing you've got to remember about Scottish people. We don't actually like other people, apart from you guys. Genuine people. We don't like anybody. I'm not saying we don't like anybody that becomes a success, but we don't like anybody that gets too big for their boots and becomes a bit OTT. There's a good story about James, how do you donate? Carl, if you could put the link on to the subs page. If you download the app, James, it's $4.99 a month, or you can go on the website. There's a big donate button there as well. Scots don't like us. Penny, that's not true. Scots do like English people. Do you know who Scottish people hate more than anybody else? Other Scottish people. And everyone will testify to that. Kevin Bridges isn't funny. I don't like Kevin Bridges. Kelly's laughing. Laura knows that. The people, I mean, we do not like the SNP and Nicola Sturgeon. Scottish people hate Scottish people more than anyone else. It's like when you hear the Scottish accent on the TV, you just run away from it and hide because it's pure cringe. There's this thing called the Scottish cringe. And it's actually really bad. What you tend to find is people from Scotland actually become more successful when they leave. I mean, you saw the statistics that the drug deaths in Scotland are the highest in the world. I mean, it's dreadful, but it's understandable. It's a strange place. It really, really is. Guys, listen, great stream. Really great chatting to you all. Really, really great time. Every Scot you don't know. That's not, as I said, Penny, that's not true. Most Scots do. Most Scots are unionists and believe in the UK. But we don't like people that are too full of themselves. And I'm not saying English people are too full of themselves. Of course they're not. But, you know, some of your, like the way they go on about the England football team, the way that some of the celebrities behave. And what I'm saying is, if Scottish people go like that, like Sheena Easton, I was talking the story about Sheena Easton. Sheena Easton came from, was she Drumchapel? Sheena Easton, my baby takes the morning train. Anyway, Sheena Easton went to America and she came back to Glasgow and it's like, hi everybody, it's Sheena Easton here. It's great to be back in Glasgow. She got booed off the stage because she had a fake American accent. Yeah, more Scots voted for Brexit than the SNP. Yeah, the weather's grim as well. Thanks, Andrew. No, says, no arrogance and overbearance is not tolerated. I mean, it's true. People say I come across as arrogant. I'm a wee bit full of myself, but you have to do this kind of work, you know, to put yourself up here. But if anybody gets... Is she nice and still alive? Yeah, she is. She does shows in Las Vegas, I think, still. You get too big for your boots, they'll soon bring you back down. 1 million Scots voted for Brexit, more than voted for the SNP. 2 million Scots in 2014 voted to remain part of the United Kingdom and said no to independence. The biggest ever vote in democratic history on a turnout of 85%. Never forget that. 28 out of 32 councils voted to stay part of the UK. So we are... really there. Victoria, that's a good point. If men loved their women like they do football, the world would be a better place. Very true. Guys, I'm going to say good night to you all and take care. I'm not going to play the outro. Download the app. Take care. Good night.